So this is to Noelplum, um, and this is I'm addressing the rest of them. This is kind of back reverse order. Um, our last exchange was very civil, so I figured I'd go through these and I'm going to do it in the most I guess sensible or well, here it goes, and maybe this would shed some light on it. All right, as you probably know, Chicago is the most violent big city in the United States. Chicago is 2.7 million people. Every year there's over 400 murders, 1,500 rapes, and over 14,000 violent crimes in the Chicagoland area, which population is, I believe, somewhere between 9,000 or 9 million and 12 million. There are between 778 murders and 1,000 murders, and the rape, this is annually, 3,895 last year, and violent crime, 43,000. Around minute 2:06, you talked about the Second Amendment. It's an amendment, so it can be changed. Well, it's the Second Amendment, meaning it's those first 10 amendments we call the Bill of Rights. The First Amendment could be changed, freedom of religion, freedom of press, freedom of speech. It takes a super majority, and the Founding Fathers did not want the First or Second Amendment to be anywhere in any legal document, because they said we never gave the government the right to even rule on these things, so they shouldn't be in there, but the foresight to put them in there. And a super majority is needed, something like 75 to 85% of a direct democratic vote for it to change. So I mean, it's as likely as the First Amendment being abolished as the Second Amendment would be abolished. But that leads me into another one, but I'll pause that for right now and go on to, you said around minute 4, if you had a magic wand that would make all the guns go away, from the bad guys, the good guys, and even the police, and they would just be, kind of like in England where, they have them in certain, armories. The violent rape would go up. I'm very happy that in the state of Illinois and in downtown Chicago, many nurses have concealed carry, because Chicago it's like the Harvard of medicine. We have all the major hospitals here, and we have the L, we have, public transportation by bus, trains, people walk everywhere, and women carrying concealed weapons. I think it's fantastic, because mace does not work on a rapist, but rapists can always overpower a woman or just use a knife. But once she draws down on him with a Glock, that's a deterrent. Or even if he sees her carrying a semi-automatic handgun. Minute 6 second 56. He said, you know, in the United Kingdom there's no guns and, you know, burglary, but you have to understand with burglary there's also rape. And again, a knife gets the job done too. So a man breaks into a woman's house, yeah, he doesn't have a gun, he could still rape the shit out of her and put a knife to her throat, or wrap his hands around her. So if she had a weapon, that man would be dead. Imagine if the victims of Richard Ramirez in the 80s owned weapons. They would have shot his ass. He never used a gun. And then he said around minute 7 second 43, the gun nuts for my dead body, you know, for my cold dead hands, and that death is the worst thing. Well, I would say tyranny, concentration camps, taking away the First Amendment, taking away the freedom of religion, taking away the rights of the people, installing a communist dictatorship or something like that, going against the will of the people is far worse than tyranny, is far worse than death. I mean, that's why, you know, we fought on Normandy. That's why we fought the British Crown, to kick them out of the colonies. That's why to free the slaves we fought the Civil War. You know, tyranny is far worse than a hail of bullets entering your chest. And I think you also called the people gun nuts, that the Second Amendment is not I forgot what, my handwriting's bad, but it's the same thing as the you know, as the woman getting attacked. You know, I like the fact that nurses that work in the hospitals in the heart of the city have concealed carry. Second Amendment is not a that people who believe in the Second Amendment are just as bad as the Taliban. So somebody who wants to defend a woman who wants to defend her life, her body, not be sexually tortured, as well as defend her children and her property, she's as bad as the Taliban. I think that's kind of unfair. Now, the last one I already addressed, but I think this video was very fair, and I believe I gave a non-fanatical, typical American view of why we should have firearms, not only handguns, but semi-automatic weapons. So to Noelplum, who I have been responding to as my friend, even though I barely know the man. And I will end it as I always do. Peace to you, Noelplum. And I'd love to hear whether you agree or disagree with me on this. and on which points. But I would just ask you in return, do you really think it's fair to call um, us equal to the Taliban for, some 23-year-old working mother who's a nurse who works in Chicago, who wants to defend her life, her body from being raped, her children, and her property. Does that really make her just like the Taliban? I don't think so. And I don't think you do either. I think you were just using hyperbole and didn't think it all the way through, which is fine. I do the same thing a lot. All right, peace to you, Noelplum.